Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video today, I am going to be showing you how you can download the Dolphin Emulator for your computer. Dolphin Emulator lets you emulate Wii games and GameCube with ease, so you can play it at any time, anywhere. This tutorial will work for Windows and Mac, however I'm going to be doing this on Windows. You should be able to follow this on Mac also. So I'm just going to get right into the tutorial. So, the first thing you want to do is open a web browser of your choice. I'm going to be using Google Chrome. So you could just open your web browser and then we want to go to the website Dolphin. So it's just dolphinemu.org. Once we hit enter and wait for the page to load, we just want to hit the big download button on your page. From here we can decide, do we want to download the beta versions or do we want to download the stable versions? Now, beta versions are helpful because it gives you some extra features, however they're not fully tested. Personally, I recommend scrolling down and downloading a stable version. This ensures that it's very likely that you won't have many issues. However, if you do have issues in some games, it may be fixed in the beta or development versions, so you can give them a go. I'm going to be downloading the Windows x64 version. However, if you're on Mac, make sure just to press Mac over here. So once you press this button, it will begin the download. As you can see, my dolphin.exe file has been downloaded. I'm just going to quickly right click this and open as an administrator. From here, you just want to press yes. So, the first thing we want to do for the installer is make sure to pick our language. I'm going to be picking English, however they have support for loads of languages. So now we can just press OK. It's going to ask to agree to the license. I've already read this, however you have to read it yourself, so I'm just going to press agree. We want to make sure we download all of the components. This just ensures that Dolphin runs correctly, so we can just easily press next. You could see the destination folder for our files. I'm going to keep it in this location as it's easy to find, however you can move this to other drives if you want to put it somewhere else. I'm going to install it now. We can now see that Dolphin has completed the setup. I'm now going to finish the installer. To open your Dolphin emulator, you need to navigate to where you installed the application, or you can just use the shortcut it put on your desktop. Either works, so now I'm going to open dolphin.exe. A pop-up comes up the first time you open it, and it's basically usage statistic reporting. This allows Dolphin to improve itself based on the data that you send. You can read the message if you want, however I decide that I do not want to do this. It's up to you. As you can see, I have the Dolphin emulator open. It might seem a bit confusing at first, but don't worry, I'm going to explain everything for you. The first thing I would recommend looking at is going into config. Here you can just check that you're happy with all of the settings. If you don't know what you're doing, I recommend not changing these. However, you might want to change some basic settings such as enabling cheats. I'm going to have a look at the graphics settings now. Now I'm in graphics, you can change a lot of things here. I'd recommend enabling show FPS. This lets you see how many frames are being generated every second. You can also change your backend if you want to get some more performance. I would recommend using trial and error to find what suits you best. I'm going to be sticking with OpenGL, but you can see there's other versions you can use. Under enhancements, you can increase the resolution. On your hardware, you should be able to run quite well at 1080p for Wii and GameCube games. However, if you have a more powerful computer, you can bump it all the way up to 4K and 5K. I'm going to stick to 1080p, as that's what my monitor is. Under advanced, I'd also recommend the setting borderless full screen. This is up to you, it doesn't really matter, however I find it's a lot easier if you want to alt-tab between windows, so I like to keep this enabled. I'll next be having a look at the controller settings. I usually just use my keyboard, however I do recommend using a controller if that's what you're used to. It can be more enjoyable if you're not used to your keyboard and mouse. You can just pair it with Bluetooth, however I'd recommend finding another tutorial for that if you do not know how to do it already. In the controller configuration page, you can edit all the buttons you want to use. If you want to switch to another controller, just press the little arrow and select it under this drop down menu. Keep in mind, you can also connect controllers via their wire. Now you have Dolphin Emulator set up, now you just need to open your games. As you can see, it's asking us to double click to select a games directory. I'm just going to double click and select it now. As you can see, I've selected my game directory now. I'm just going to put Dolphin into full screen. Now you've opened your game directory, you can just select the game you want to play and press open. I'm not going to bother doing this for the sake of the tutorial, as I've covered everything you need to know. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please go down and leave a like and comment if you have any questions because I'll be happy to help you guys out. Please consider subscribing also, as I'd love to get more subscribers in this new year. Best of luck.